All right, y'all. Today we're going to be talking pretty much what it says in the title that most people aren't really as tough as they portray to be. I've definitely been noticing a lot more people don't have the courage to actually do what they say they're going to do, and this goes beyond violence. This might be about commitment, about being a man or a woman of your word. It's just people are kind of portraying characters, and they're not actually as who they say they are. But we can stick to the violent part. A lot of people want to portray themselves as tougher, as bigger, as stronger as they than what they actually are, to intimidate people or to bring them down. It's almost like a bullying tactic a little bit, where they just want to make the person or the different other people feel like they're someone who needs to be respected, or feel like they're, or make them feel, the other person or the group, make them feel like that they are someone to be revered or feared. They have a specific vision of themselves in their head, and they want to make sure that you are like jiving with that vision. And if you're not doing that, then that's like going to cause a lot of problems for them mentally. So it's something that's like very prevalent in today's society, where people are kind of just pretending to be people that they're not. And I always want to kind of reassure people that most people aren't. They're not who they say they are. They're not who they're pretending to be. Most people are kind of like the scared children, stuck in their like adult bodies. They a lot of people have a lot more going on that they will not tell you, that will keep them from doing the actions that they say that they're going to do, or be the person that they say that they're actually going to be, because it just makes them feel better about themselves and their current situations, versus actually following through. Most people aren't really willing to crash out for their ideas, or for what they believe in. It's not something that they actually want to put on the line. So many people, they might have friends or family members, different obligations that will keep them from actually doing things that they say they're going to do, but they're just hoping people don't call them out. That's like the main thing I've been noticing, is people don't want to be called out on their bullshit. And once you do that, then they kind of have to make a decision, be like, oh, am I actually going to go through with it, or am I actually going to be who they thought I was? And yeah, I want to like reiterate with people and let them know that, yeah, most people are just kind of just peacocking. They're not actually going to do what they say they're going to do. And this applies all throughout life: school, workplace environments, friendships, relationships. Most people are like, they're very insecure. They have a lot of things going on mentally and physically that just keeps them from actually achieving what they want to achieve, or actually go through with whatever they were actually thinking. And that's something that people hope you don't find out about them. I know I've been dealing with a lot of that my whole life, where people project how they feel, or their insecurities or their fears, and they want you to hopefully not call them out. Hopefully to be like, what, I'm actually going to believe kind of this character, this performance you're putting on, and I'm actually not going to call you out. I'm actually not going to actually be like, what, let's see if you actually are the person that you say you are, or you're just hoping that no one actually finds out. And once you kind of realize that most people just aren't, the loudest guy in the room, fallacy, where like the loudest person is mostly like the most insecure person there, and the people who kind of keep to themselves are normally like the most dangerous. It's always good to have a good understanding of, if someone who can, defend themselves physically, mentally, verbally. They won't go around like telling people about it, and kind of making people know. You probably already know or known as soon as you meet someone or spend enough time with them what they're capable of, and you should get to a point where you just don't have to kind of tell people or keep reiterating what you can or can't do. You know what I'm saying? People can kind of come to that conclusion themselves. But the most insecure people will constantly kind of show you and kind of remind you like who they are, what they do, where they came from, their lineage, their legacy, and all that. Versus the people who just allow that just to happen, let it manifest and kind of come naturally. Those people are normally like the most dangerous people because they have a very more grounded and level view of who they are and like where they fit in society and like the hierarchy. So those people are normally the ones who just aren't pretending to be someone. They're actually some like the nicest and kindest people that you'll meet because they know like how dangerous they actually are. They're not actually going out here and making people feel uncomfortable and making people feel, their presence and making people feel a certain type of way about them. They just give them the autonomy and the choice to make that decision for themselves. They don't kind of go out there and just make people go down this road that they want them to go down. They're just like, you know what? This is who I am. I'm going to be this person unapologetically, and I'm not going to pull the wool over your eyes and bullshit you. But a lot of people, the majority of people I'm actually seeing, there's a element to their personality that has them just pretending to be someone that they're not, being more tough than they actually are, and it's definitely a lot of fear that comes into that, where people just pretend to be something that they're not because they're scared of like who they actually are. They don't want to admit it. They don't actually feel comfortable with who they actually are in reality. That's something society actually got really good at, is allowing people to kind of blend in and hide in the weeds and kind of put on these performances and allowing different elements, like status and wealth, to continue these shows people be putting on, and allowing people to kind of be bamboozled by it, allowing these facades to go on for decades, sometimes even centuries, where people kind of think someone is who they aren't, and people are getting better at realizing it, recognizing the patterns of seeing like, wait, you said this, or you did this, you said this, you didn't do that, and you kind of start to see people a little bit differently once you get that information, and just getting to the point where, at least in my life, you kind of have to start calling people out, especially once they get in the way of your purpose. A lot of people, because of their insecurities, how they feel about themselves, and they see you like close to where they're at. It's gonna be like in a work environment or even like a relationship environment. When they see you getting close to like what they have, they'll get very defensive, and they will do whatever they can to defend what they have, and what they have, and what they have might be something mental, might be something physical, tangible, but they'll do whatever they can to kind of protect it for themselves, even though like that isn't, whatever the thing that they're trying to protect isn't even on your radar. You're not even thinking about it. You're not even, it's not even anywhere on your mind at all. But they're just, it's not how they feel about themselves. They're just kind of being like, you know what, I need to protect this with my life. So I'm going to throw all these smoke screens and kind of put all these barriers up to keep anyone who threatens them at bay. Sometimes you got to knock those barriers down and swipe the smoke away to really get to the truth of things, and then things starting adding up more, and you can really start making progress and let those other people know that you're not actually going to get in the way of where I'm going and what I'm going to do, because of how you feel. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not bigger than what this is. You know, if you have a really big purpose, a really big passion, and people feel like, and, you know, there's always going to be some truth to how people feel. Like where you're going might, you know, shine a light on what they're doing, and that might, you know, intimidate them and have them start panicking about, you know, who they are and what demons they have or whatever. But understanding that you don't really have any right to do that. I mean, you're going to do what you're going to do. You know, people are still animals at the same time, but you still don't have like this immutable right to just kind of get in someone's way because how you feel, without the other person retaliating or at least having the right to do so. So it's definitely good to have that in your back pocket, being like, you know what, I think I might actually call this person out. It might actually be very, very much in your best interest to start calling people out and really seeing like who they actually are. You know, if you're really the person that you say you are, or you're just kind of pretending, because there are quite a few pretenders out here, and it's definitely keeping progress from happening in certain aspects. You know, you definitely can learn from that, learn more about humans and how we interact with each other from that. But at the same time, there also is this element of, I really need to get to where I want to go. I really would like to progress in these areas, and you're keeping me from getting there. You're actually purposely putting obstacles in my way, off of how you feel. You know, you're missing so much nuance, so much of what this actually is. It might be because of, you know, they want the glory, they want the fame, or they don't want you to have it, or a combination of all that. There's so many variables that, you know, you don't fully know a whole lot of people, unfortunately. But you just can recognize that you're actually getting in my way, or you're keeping other people from achieving what they want to achieve. You know, people who I care about, people who mean a whole lot to me, and your reasoning, at least from my point of view, isn't valid. You know, and what you're doing isn't valid. How you feel is valid, but your actions are not valid. So we got to kind of get to a bottom of like where we're going here and what's going on moving forward, because this can't continue. So, you know, for myself, I always keep in my back pocket that people just aren't as tough as they say they are. You kind of have to call people out. You know what I'm saying? Like really, really call people out. No matter who you are, you know, no matter like where you think you fit in like in society, you should always have that courage to call people out and see what the actual reality is versus what they're trying to manipulate and create. You know, gotta see the man behind the curtain and be like, hey, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? This ain't adding up. Nothing's making sense. You're saying one thing and doing something else. Like where are we going with this? You know, and once you get that courage, you know, that courage comes from everyone. It's not really like a courage that you really get born with, of this standing up for yourself, uh, and really kind of allowing yourself to feel like what you're doing and where you're progressing is worth fighting for. Obviously, it's going to fluctuate how much courage you want to have. You know, standing up to the police or standing up to your boss is completely different from, you know, standing up to or like asking, you know, the waiter at your restaurant for some fries, since the ones they gave you are all, you know, burnt or crispy or whatever. You know, there's different levels to this, but this understanding when people are kind of like intimidating you and making you feel less than, it's like a constant thing. A lot of them aren't going to really follow through with their threats towards you. Even if they do like look at you as less than or belittle you, they're really, like, most people just aren't really like that. Honestly, they're kind of, they're just kind of projecting, and in the long term, at least, you know, in the short term, you might get some consequences for standing up for yourself. But in the long term, that person isn't going to be able to keep that going, especially when you stood up for yourself in front of the other people, and all they did was like reprimand you in a way that doesn't really keep you from where you're going, people are going to notice that. They're going to respect you for standing up and kind of having that courage while also looking at that person or those people differently, because you kind of just dismantled their whole performance. You know, that whole act is pretty much coming to a close. You know, they're going to have to change the act, or, you know, pack up and go someplace else and kind of try to bamboozle some other people. But yeah, most people, they're just not as intimidating or as, you know, threatening as they want to make people feel. Most people are very scared. They're scared of getting hurt, physically, mentally, emotionally. They don't. A lot of people don't have the tools to withstand a lot of that abuse that they dish out to other people. You know what I'm saying? They know how to dish it, but they really, really cannot take it. And once you kind of get that understanding, I know for me, I got that understanding a while ago, but I'm starting to implement it a lot more now, and it's giving me so many more blessings and clarity about myself and the people around me, and like how much power I do have and how little power the other people have. And it's definitely giving me the confidence to continue doing that, and continue to be unapologetic about how I feel about people that just want to keep peacocking and make people feel less than, and kind of, you know, make them feel worthless a little bit. It's it's definitely eye opening. I don't want to put too many, you know, labels on this thing as good or bad, but it's kind of how people are. And at least once I gave people that grace and clarity, I was able to then give myself the permission to go after the people who I felt like needed to be confronted. You know, once I stopped demonizing people and started to actually, you know, look at it from their perspective, give it more nuance, I was able to be like, okay, I can't call this person out, but I can't allow like my emotions to overtake where I want to take this conversation or this event, simply because it's not going to give me the results that I'm looking for. I'm looking for progress. I'm looking for resolution. I'm not really looking for like a whole big drama-filled spectacle from people. I just want to get a resolution. So once I kind of gave myself that grace and that understanding that I can't feel the way that I want to feel towards people, but there's more nuance to people. There's a lot more going on that you'll ever know. You'll be able to be like, okay, I'm not going to go el fuego on you, but I am going to speak my mind and tell you to stop doing what you're doing to either me or my loved ones or my co-workers or my friends, you know, or to our environment. You know what I'm saying? You're definitely being selfish because of how you feel, and that's not going to keep flying. You know, you're not going to continue doing this, and if you are, I'm definitely going to like defend myself and my ideals and the people who are suffering because of your consequences, because of your actions. And yeah, it's been giving me so much. It's been the blessings have been coming because of that, because of me kind of standing my ground and doing that. So I will encourage more people to do that in their own way. You know what I'm saying? We all have a different way of kind of getting to the root of problems and resolving conflicts. So I definitely don't want to get people like this one size fits all thing. Everything's going to be different for person to person. It's always going to vary. So my advice will be to kind of pinpoint what your issue or problem is. Try to get to the root of it as soon as possible, and then kind of confront the people or the things that you need to confront, while giving that nuance to it, giving that grace, so you don't misunderstand or kind of, you know, overstep and kind of miss your opportunity to get a resolution. You know, there's always going to be that chance you doing that if you kind of overstep and kind of get too emotional or get too invested in something that isn't really as deep as you think it is. Because things, like I said, there's so much nuance to things that is very hard to really paint this black and white brush on on things and being like, this is good, this is evil, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. There's just way too much nuance that gets moved, that gets glossed over. But always remember that people just are putting on performances almost every single day. Excuse me. When they're dealing with other people, especially when they're not mentally, you know, I don't say not doing well, but mentally they're kind of prioritizing different things. They don't have time to like be honest and real with you, so they're just gonna have to kind of default to the character that they're putting on, and just give them that grace and be like, all right, I understand like you're not this horrible person, but what you're doing isn't really justified. So let's kind of find like a resolution to this so we can all move on and make the world a better place. So yeah, that's something I keep in the back of my mind always is people really aren't as tough as they say they are. And sometimes, even though I did make a video about meeting people where they're at, which is very important, you should meet people where they're at, but always have that grace in mind. You know, if you want people to have that for you, you have no idea how many people have given you grace throughout your life. You know, that so many people have that give you the benefit of doubt that you should always try to pay that forward. You know, and even if those people are abusive or kind of manipulative or kind of bullies, just have that grace because you will get that back in return. But it's pretty much it. Like the title says, people aren't as tough as they proclaim, as they want you to see or think. And yeah, sometimes you really gotta meet them where they're at. Be like, hey, enough's enough. That's all I got for y'all. Take it easy.